First thing I want to say is I got the idea for this video whilst talking to a fellow YouTuber, Somnibrew, during like a Skype call or whatever. So I just thought I'd mention that here. This video wouldn't exist if I wasn't talking to him. So I just want to give him a little bit of credit. Check him out. Basically, yeah, I was talking to Somnibrew about the upcoming volume of RWBY and how it just hasn't had any marketing at all. It got an Adam character short and that's it. We don't even have a poster or anything like that yet. And then that reminded me the reason for that is probably because of Genlock. So this is one of the only videos where I'd be kind of like validated if it got like almost no views, because that would kind of prove my entire point. So what is Genlock? Well, yeah, exactly. Genlock kind of baffles me, and the problem with it, right? So Rooster Teeth announced Genlock during the RWBY Volume 5 announcement panel, RTX 2017, and they announced it with an image, and they were like, Gray's gonna be writing it, Gray Haddock is gonna be writing it. Here's an image of a character in front of a mecha. And here's the beginning of the problem, right? Because that was the announcement. Now remember, the announcement of RWBY was this really kind of long trailer, right, of Ruby Rose fighting some Grimm. And immediately people got interested, right, because of the music and because of the fight scenes. People got given something tangible to like about RWBY. Genlock got an image, a very generic looking image, and that's it. We're only a few months away from the release of Genlock, and everything seems to be going against it. Now, of course, I should clarify, do I want Genlock to be good? Yes, obviously. I really want Genlock to be good. Not because it's made by Rooster Teeth. I don't care about Rooster Teeth particularly anymore, but because it's got David Tennant in it. And we'll get into that in a bit more detail in a sec, but I really like David Tennant. He's a great actor. I love a lot of the stuff he's been in, like Doctor Who and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and all that other stuff. He's a really good actor. He's one of my favorite actors, in fact. And he's in this. And that's their entire marketing strategy. Seriously, when I was doing research for this video, right, I searched Genlock, right? And I viewed like the first 2 pages of the Google results. Over 50% of them were just news articles from other websites talking about David Tennant. Not about the show itself, just about the fact that David Tennant is going to be in the show. Even better yet, we don't even know what David Tennant's character is going to look like. We know he's called Rufus Weller, and we know that all the other characters refer to him as the Doc. Do you get it? It's a reference to the thing he was in. But yeah, so that's the really weird thing. Genlock has had almost no marketing. Every time I talk to anyone about it, they go, what's that? And I go, it's the thing by the people that made RWBY. And they go, huh, okay. And then I tell them, oh, it's got David Tennant in it. And they're like, why didn't I know about this then? Yeah, not even just David Tennant. Of course, my group of friends are biased towards David Tennant because, of course, he is most well known for Doctor Who, and I am British, and so all of my friends have seen Doctor Who. That's kind of how it works. But like, it's got Michael B. Jordan as the protagonist, and so when they cast David Tennant, I was like, oh, he's probably gonna be a minor character, or he'll get killed off, or whatever. It's a short publicity stunt. Then they announced that the protagonist of the entire show is played by Michael B. Jordan, who I needs no introduction at all. He was in Black Panther. He played the main villain in Black Panther. He was in the really shitty Fantastic Four reboot. In fact, he was one of the best things in that film. He's actually a pretty good actor. And he's recently, he was in Creed. I really need to watch Creed because I love the Rocky films, so I need to watch that. And he's currently rumored to play Superman, and that's massive. How did Rooster Teeth afford that? So whenever anyone criticizes RWBY, Rooster Teeth go, oh, look at us though, we're a small little animation team. We funded ourselves from the ground up. We're so tiny. Please be please, we're just helpless. And then they go ahead and cast Michael B. Jordan as their protagonist. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Not only that, but they got Dakota Fanning as the main female character who we're going to get to in a sec, Miranda Worth. And I was like, Dakota Fanning, she's a pretty big deal, isn't she? I looked her up. She plays Coraline, one of my favorite animated films of all time. She plays the protagonist in that. What the fuck, Rooster Teeth? And so I just have to believe they put their entire budget into the main cast. They got Maisie Williams. She was in Game of Thrones and Doctor Who. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that Gray is a really big fan of Doctor Who then. I guess they're just planning on having the cast market the show for them. But the problem is, right, again, all of my friends are massive fans of David Tennant and they just didn't even know the show existed until I told them, and I only knew because I keep on top of all the RWBY news. So what's their plan here? I don't get it. We know almost no information about the show, right, and the cast of characters. So Michael B. Jordan character Julian Chase, right? Also, he has a really generic design. Like, the Wikia, and most of my news and information is from the Wikia, and I know you're not supposed to get stuff from Wikipedia and Wikia and stuff, but again, the Genlock Wikia is the only place of information. I've seen the character shorts. We'll get to that in a sec. Julian Chase is described as charming and funny and kind and how dull for a protagonist can you get? Oh, but he also has experienced trauma in his past. What kind of trauma? Oh, I hope it's dead parents. That's my favorite kind of trauma. He's also from New York. And I was like, what? Because this is a post-apocalyptic mecha show, right? And I was like, oh, okay, it's going to be some kind of made-up world like RWBY. No, it's New York. Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's like very unimaginative, but it just very kind of generic. And I know the Wikia describes it as being a more realistic kind of grounded show than RWBY, and that's fine. I don't mind that, but I don't trust RWBY, Rooster Teeth even, to capture the fucking like appeal of mecha shows, because there's two good things with mecha shows, right? At least as far as I'm aware. There's the sense of scale that mecha shows give you, because everything has to be big, giant wars with multiple factions. It's got a big sense of scale. And have you seen Rooster Teeth's budget with RWBY recently? They can barely do a 1v1 fight scene anymore, let alone a big, massive mecha war. And then the second is political intrigue and strategies and warring factions and clever, slow writing. And Rooster Teeth, again, have written RWBY. So, yeah, stick to what you're good at, I would say. Yeah. You know, like, they barely skirted by with slice of life schoolgirls. Don't know if they're gonna do military stuff. I mean, yes, that's the most interesting stuff in RWBY, so I get it, but it's still like, I don't trust them to make a full show around that and have it make coherent sense. Like, these are the people that didn't want to say how long the RWBY time skip was because they didn't want it to be inconsistent, but of course all that did was make it more inconsistent. On Julian Chase's Wikia page, he has a bunch of random like military jargon that tells us nothing about his character, so that's good. And then you go on to Miranda Worth, the second, you know, she's like the second rated character, so she's really important. You want to know how she's described? She's got like 2 lines on the Wikia. We know that she is Julian's love interest. That's it. That's the only piece of information we have. Do I even need to tell Rooster Teeth how bad writing that is to introduce your main female character by saying that they're the love interest and giving us no other information? Come on, guys. Like, how bad this can you get? I mean, again, the final product might be good, but this is bad marketing. You never, ever, ever market the female character as the love interest. She can be a love interest, but you don't market her as one. She has to be a fully fleshed out character that serves the plot in her own way and then happen to be the love interest. The love interest shouldn't be her defining trait because that just makes her an accessory to the main character. So that's good. So what even is Genlock? Not the show, but why is it called Genlock? Well, according to the wiki here again, and as is hinted in the teasers, which the teasers are just a bunch of random like UI elements and concept art floating around with like David Tennant's voice, so they're barely trailers. But basically they hint that Genlock is a technology that's untested and rough and whatever that the Vanguard uses. Who get it? It's called the Vanguard. See, a military faction can't be called the Vanguard. It works for a card game because the main mechanic of the card game revolves around one of the cards being the Vanguard of the other cards. It doesn't work for a military faction because a Vanguard is a role within a military faction. Yeah, it doesn't really work. The first season's going to be 8 episodes, so that's something. at the very least, by spending almost all of your budget, because I can't imagine that this is going to be cheap, hiring all these really big name voice actors, maybe that's their big way. One positive will come from this is at least it won't be the same people that are in every Rooster Teeth related thing ever. No, that's not true either, because Lindsay, Blaine, Gray, I think even Michael, they're all going to be in it as voice actors too. And oh, good, Gray's going to be in it. You know what my favorite thing in the world is? When the person that writes the show is also in the show as an actual role. It never works out. It's always bad. Don't do that. Do I even need to say Tommy Wiseau's The Room? Yeah. And oh, what's this? Miles Lunar is the head writer to Ruby and he plays the worst character in the show? Yeah, don't do that, please. Anything more than a cameo is bad. And the only other piece of information we have that I could find, it was announced July 2017 and it releases January 2019. And in that time, we have had no more information. Also, January is where you put the stuff to die. Like, this is common knowledge right now, right? Everyone knows that January is where you release the stuff you have no confidence in because no one cares because they're too busy with the stuff that happened in December because December's the most busy time of year. And so you put out the January stuff to die because no one cares. This is common knowledge, right? And yet they're just doing it anyway. It's not going to be on YouTube. The reason Ruby took off and hit it so big wasn't because of anything else other than the fact that it was on YouTube. People watched it on YouTube out of curiosity. They were like, oh, it's on YouTube. Yeah, sure, I'll give it a go then. It's convenience. You know that, right? Like, a good way of getting people to watch your show is by having it so convenient that you can't not, And so if you hear literally anyone mention Ruby and then you YouTube search it and the entire show comes up, you'll be like, okay, I guess I can watch that. Not gonna happen with Genlock. The Rooster Teeth website is terrible, and having it be Rooster Teeth exclusive is terrible. Like, I get it. YouTube demonetization, all that stuff. It would be suicide to put a show like this on YouTube because you're not going to make your money back unless it's a card game advert like with Vanguard. I get that. But sign a deal with Netflix or put it on YouTube Premium or anything. I just don't like the Rooster Teeth website. And not to mention that you have to go on the Rooster Teeth website and you have to log into an account, which I know sounds really kind of picky on my end, but it adds up. There are a lot of people that won't even be willing to go on the Rooster Teeth website. And there are even more people that when they get to there and click on the episode and then it has a giant make an account please before you can watch this screen, even more people are going to give up at that stage because it just isn't worth it, especially with a show that hasn't had any marketing at all. Like, again, they've had a few trailers, but the trailers show nothing. It's not like the Ruby trailers where each one was like a really cool fight scene or whatever that introduced each of the 4 characters. This is proven by the fact that the trailers for Genlock have almost no views. They've got around about 200,000 views each, which sounds like a lot. And that is, I would love to have views that big, trust me. But the channel it's uploaded to has 9 million subs. And these trailers are fairly old too. So yeah, I didn't even know they existed until I did research for this video. And that's it. That's Genlock. What is Genlock? That's all I know. What is it about? It's about a post-apocalypse place with mechs and some people in mechs. It's one of those shows where you read the synopsis and you fall asleep halfway through because it's every other show that's ever existed. Oh, there's a post-apocalypse and warring factions and people in mechs and ooh. And that's it. Do I want it to be good? Yes. I love David Tennant and his performance even in these really crappy trailers that show nothing it's actually pretty good. We don't know what he looks like as far as I'm aware. Rooster Teeth, put out an actual trailer, please. Put out more information on your Twitter account. Do anything. This is baffling. Trust me, I get it. I've hated on Rooster Teeth and Ruby a lot. In fact, even in this video. But I don't want to see you spend so much time, effort, budget, and all that stuff in this show just to have it flop because no one's even heard of it. Because again, I'm the only person I know that's even heard of it. And anyone else that knows because I directly told them that David Tennant was in it. And guess what? None of those people have any intention of watching the show either. So, I don't know what their plan is here. I don't want this show to fail. In parts of it look kind of cool. I mean, mainly David Tennant's voice acting, but you know.